Hello viewers, and welcome to the end of 2011 review. It's been an epic year for VVV and for racing games. It's been huge for me, you know, loads and loads of work done this year, making you guys loads of videos. And I started with what I thought was just going to be a 5-minute video, and it went on to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and has become this epic, if you like. And I thought I'd join myself with another Alan today. So Alan, thanks for joining me today. And of course, what are your impressions on the video? Yes, well, thank you, Alan, and hello, viewers. So, yeah, epic video. So this will go through every month all of the main driving games that have been released this year. You know, the trips to Silverstone, meeting racing drivers, everything else. I mean, it's been an epic year. And of course, as ever, I'd like to thank everybody who's been involved with helping out VVV, but also to you, the viewers, as well. It's you know, I couldn't do it without you guys and your support and putting videos on your blogs and your forums, everything else, and letting you know what I've been doing and showing off some of this content. You know, it really is a massive help to me. But rather than have me rambling on now, why don't I hand over to Alan for a review of the year. So we kick off then with Nailed. This game came out in the US in late 2010, came out in the UK and Europe in around January 2011. It was my first game of the year, off-road, crazy off-road action. It was a lot of fun though, basic, but I found it quite a bit of fun, a roller coaster ride of a game. Probably worth a pick up if you see it for a very budget price. Then it was on to SBK 11 here as well, 2011, and we had a world preview on this and an interview there with the game designer Simeone Magni as well, and that was great. It was his first ever interview with anyone anywhere in the world, so that was fun for him as well. The game itself had a few finished tracks and had a few unfinished tracks. Wasn't all we'd hoped it would be, and let's hope that bike handling one day reaches an intuitive point, but for me it still isn't there yet. However, they were the better out of them and MotoGP, of course. MotoGP not featured on here actually. Then there was a Test Drive Unlimited 2. Came out of nowhere for me. It wasn't a game I ever expected to be very popular on the VVV channel, and it was huge. Everybody enjoyed my racing, my crashes, crazy speed. It was a lot of fun to play. Unfortunately, despite success with the videos, Namco Bandai never sent us a final copy of the game and wouldn't send me a review copy, which was a real shame. So our content died on this, and we were never able to cover the DLC for you guys, which was a bit of a shame. But overall, this did really good, really well for us. It was a lot of fun to record, and I had good fun making it and driving around randomly, and would still be probably making videos on it to this day. It's a shame because graphically it was a little bit dated, but it did have a lot of fun beneath the surface. So much room, so much potential. Cool. Since space, I was, when I had a bit of space, I would film something else random, like I usually do. And this was Outrun. I'm a classic arcade gamer at the end of the day, and Outrun 2 on Xbox Live and PSN as well. It's worth a play now and again. I really enjoy it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to show off some of my sort of old skills or whatever, playing something like this. It was a lot of fun to play. Sort of getting back into it again takes a bit of time, but great fun. If you see it for sale on Xbox Live or PSN, definitely worth a pick up. It doesn't work well with a wheel, you have to use the pad, but at the end of the day, still a lot of fun to play and a classic arcade game. After that, of course, for me it was Shift 2. Went to Silverstone here in the bottom corner. You can see night driving, and up the top there you can see my interview with Andy Tudor wearing protective safety headwear. We were very keen to show that off for you guys. It's important to wear. A lot of fun. I mean, going around night racing Silverstone in an Aston Martin with a guy drifting around corners like a crazy man was fantastic. The game itself obviously looked absolutely fantastic. Had a really nice sort of racing atmosphere and feel. Obviously I had some issues with the fundamental handling at the core of it, not so much the physics but the fundamental handling of it, which I felt was pretty broken at the end of the day. I felt they just built on Shift 2. Shift 1 was working okay. They altered it to make it easier for some people, and in that process it was, shortcuts were taken and they were never able to repair it. It wasn't the sum of its parts. It could have been great. Sega Rally. This is the Sega Rally arcade that was released a couple of years ago. It's a rubbish game, honestly, but I thought, well, why not put it on here and show you guys what it's all about. I mean, graphically it was dated from the moment it was released, and it's a bit of a skid mark to the history of Sega Rally, I feel. I'd like to see the original again. And of course, from one rally game to another, Dirt. Our coverage started from Dirt early in the year, Dirt 3. interviewing Andy Gray, playing different tracks, different cars. Goodness, I've done a lot of driving this year, and you know, it was a great fun game. You know, I thought Gymkhana was going to be terrible. I found Gymkhana a lot of fun. Some people claimed I made it look too difficult in the videos, but I wanted to prove the difficulty to people. Yes, I could show you perfect videos sometimes, but I also like to show you guys making mistakes and where I'm learning. So when I fall off a corner and I learn that corner, then you can see I've made a mistake and I've learned from that mistake. And that's what driving fast is all about. It's about finding a limit and then knowing how to, once you find that limit, how much maneuverability you've got. So showing many different tracks, cars, everything else in the game. It was quite an epic amount of coverage on the game as well for us. And we've had 1 million views on Dirt 3. I mean, it's done really well, and I thank everyone for their support in watching these videos. But of course, one of the highlights was seeing Ken Block at Battersea Power Station powering round. Let's just take a look now at one of my earlier clips. Whoa! Ken Block going for it. Some really lucky people getting a ride in those cars. Let's check out a bit more of the Battersea Gymkhana run for ourselves. I love you. So here we are then for a bit of Gymkhana 3.5 action. Ken's ready at the wheel. Away he goes. Around the far section, over the dirt. See plumes of dirt over there coming up. Give him a good slide, appropriately behind the truck that says dirt on it. Through the skips. Round the pole. We'll all be doing this very soon. It's this tight hairpin section. Very tight round there, avoiding the barrels. Past the containers. Just under the truck. A good score from Ken so far. Around the skips again. Now from around the pole, the far section. And into the spin dryer section. Keeping it gentle for the passengers, lucky passengers in the car of course. Having a great time in there. Kicking up all the dust on the course. It's great to see it this time of day, of course. Like I say, it's got that kind of dirt glow about it here, evening glow. Oh, and a great slide over the dirt. Must feel fantastic in the car. Slight donut there before back to base. So great fun seeing Ken there doing the business around Battersea. It was a shame he didn't have his Gymkhana car with him. He was doing the best he could, but ultimately it was great fun. I always love seeing motor racing. I always love the smell, the atmosphere, everything else, and it was great seeing Ken do the business. And of course here we are in Dirt 3. It gave you the opportunity to do that yourself as well, and you can see how close to real life the Battersea area actually looked. It was a fantastic area to drive around. Lots and lots of fun. I was driving with the PC version, with the PS3 version most of the time. You can see the PC version I think shown there. Looked amazing. Graphics are fantastic. Great graphics engine. A lot of fun. Could have been terrible. For me though, after that, it was a quick go on iRacing, something I intended to do a lot of over the summer, something I feel for 2012, which I'm going to be taking a much closer look at, getting involved in iRacing and seeing, you know, getting a feel for it, getting a feel for the different cars, everything else. I enjoyed this immensely, but the issue with iRacing was really time. So this is my first ever hands-on, this footage. I'd never played iRacing before this. I thought I had actually years ago, but I got mixed up with something else, and it was great. And it was back to Dirt 3. You can see here we got another world exclusive on the DLC content, and this was in the D box. You can see above there different tracks, you know, giving you guys some proper action footage, something that you wouldn't normally get. And I found it loads of fun. The D-Box for Dirt 3 was immense fun, I have to say, being thrown about. An interview with Paul Coleman there, designer, and no doubt he'll be working on future Dirt games. He's a massive rally fan. It's really refreshing talking to him, just seeing his passion for rally. Of course, he's also a co-driver in a real rally car at the moment. After that though, we had that little lull before E3. E3 again was huge. You know, you guys were coming back, watching videos, supporting us. It was brilliant. We had the driver video with the terrible driving from our cameraman. 1 million views on probably the most rubbish video on the channel. Who would have thought it? But you know, Drive of San Francisco, it did great for us, and you know, it was, community loved it, and we had loads more coverage. Of course, Forza 4 goes without saying. We wanted to get what we could there, and I appreciate anyone who sent me footage as well, because I wasn't able to get there. I was it was like, if anyone can send me footage, it was just blogs, please send it to me, give me something to talk about. And it was nice of people to send me this stuff as well, so I always appreciate being sent these clips. It was great. We got some good driving as well, which was nice. It was very handy, and I hope that in future shows we can cover them, and I can be there myself and do a bit of driving live, and really get you know, put the pedal to the metal and everything else. So yes, this E3 was great for us, because while E3 was going on, I couldn't be out there, so I went to the Duke Nukem party. Here it was. I filmed a bit of action at the Duke Nukem party, and Duke Nukem may have been a rubbish game, but the party was banging. It was a really good party. Lots of people having a great time. There's me there with Duke in the top corner. Lovely, looking hard with Duke. He was a massive guy. While my cameraman in E3, of course, he had to show off by going to his party, which was equally spectacular here. The skyline of LA lit up. Here we are with the spotlights in the sky for the Forza Motorsport 4 party, which was very glamorous by all accounts. Massive event, lots of shiny sports cars. We'll have a look at some of these. Amazing automotive display. And we had a similar event to this in London, which I actually filmed but wasn't able to cover. There might be a clip later in this video. We have the obligatory car girls there, Forza 4 girls. I keep seeing the Forza 4 logo, and I keep thinking it's the Forza 3 logo though. It does still feel like it's a Forza 3 logo, though they don't have the 3 on the back of the car there. So loads and loads of cars on display. You see a car like the Nissan GTR there, you need to give it a polish, don't you? I mean, it just demands a polish. And polish it, good. It's got to be done. Every time you walk past it, you just have to give it. Any one of these cars, I mean, look at that car. Look at the engine. You know, fantastic. It's nice to see such beautiful examples. Gunboat Apollo here. Never seen one driving down the road myself. I doubt I ever will. Probably somewhere in Monaco, perhaps Dubai. You'd see something like that, Abu Dhabi. But certainly not on standard London streets. Saying that, probably wouldn't get over speed humps. What a fantastic car though. Amazing performance. I like it. I mean, I like the aggressive styling to it. Rah! You know, it looks like a beast. And you know, if one of those came up behind you on the motorway, you just jump out of the way. So the cameraman took some nice shots for us there. Got a spiker here as well. Always a nicely detailed car. I love the chrome bits and pieces. Occasionally you see them at motor shows, you're never allowed to near them. It does look fantastic. Again, never seen these cars on the road. At least not in London. It's always Ferraris in London. That's the only thing you see. But that's, I'm saying that, a couple of Lamborghinis as well. A couple of sports cars here. Nice to see. Le Mans. Looking forward to Le Mans 2012. Le Mans 2011 was absolutely spectacular, and there's so much potential for Le Mans in 2012 as well. Development of the prototype series, Porsche coming back into it, so much to look forward to. Lamborghini, that Murcielago, looks nice. Never been in one, I've sat in one, I've never got to move in one, but it would be nice, I'm sure. Fantastic, fantastic on display there, nice and shiny, like the showroom in Forza Motorsport 4 itself. You know, people claim they have over shiny cars, but certainly under these lights they look fantastic. Really nice profiling to these cars. I've always liked the aggressive profiling to Lamborghini. It's, you know, the long windscreen, and the Mercedes, the AMG, a focal point for them as well. Fantastic car, amazing engine sound. When you see it, obviously I saw it at the Italian Grand Prix this year, racing around as well. Amazing sound this car makes, fantastic. But there was some gaming there wasn't just cars. There was of course people playing Forza Motorsport. There's a time trial challenge, there's people using the wireless wheel for the first time. Actually, I managed to get a world exclusive on the wireless wheel simply because nobody else wanted to film themselves playing. So it was by virtue of the fact that everybody there was probably a bit rubbish, and I actually cut this footage because it all got a bit messy, and I thought it's simply not fair. We'll cut to the scoreboard, and we can see there the leaderboard for the event, racing around the Top Gear test track in a reasonably priced car. A winner there, obviously winning a prize. Whatever his prize was, I'm sure he enjoyed it immensely, and it was good fun at the party as well. So the winner goes up, and there's a round of applause from the audience. Always a good feeling to go up and win your racing competition. Fantastic from turn 10. And a few photos as well for the press. I would love to have been there myself, I have to say. I was enjoying the Duke Nukem party, but I'd love to have been there. Of course, next up was the Formula 1 coverage, and Formula 1 was epic for us this year. We had the Formula 1 coverage in July, which was the first time we were able to show the game and play it. You're seeing some of that here. And of course then throughout the summer, whenever there was the opportunity to show F1, we did that as well. And I interviewed Andy Davidson and David Croft. It was a great interview, insightful. I interviewed the developers, and we could never show it, unfortunately. Again, for the second time, we had a mic problem, and the sound was non-existent. So we have an interview of them. We have the video, but not the interview. And of course, I wanted to thank everybody from the Codemasters community for having a chit chat as well. I appreciate it. I was hunting around, doing my little grid walk, and talking to people about the game, what they thought of it, getting their opinion. Because it's nice me saying it, but it's good to hear other people's opinions as well. You know, I think it's helpful to get those different opinions from people, and to see when I'm coming up with answers, am I coming up with something that you guys are finding as well. Everyone will find obviously different things when they play the game, depending on how they play it. But we move here showing some of my launch coverage for F1. Of course, we'll come back to that. Lots of Monza at the times. I've been to Monza, a bit of Singapore. I don't think the Singapore race was ever shown. Goodness, we'll be seeing some of that next year. Lots more extended races, and of course back to this interview with Anthony and David. We had great fun in this interview. It was a really good laugh, and it's the third time I've interviewed these guys, and David's always trying to throw me off, but good luck to these guys at Sky, of course, in 2012, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of fun at Sky TV. It's going to be interesting to see Sky competing on Formula 1 coverage with the BBC, and who's going to make the best coverage. I think Sky this time are very committed to making great coverage, and they certainly have a worthy team. So it was on to the Ubisoft event in the summer. This is where we saw some more big titles for you guys. This whole fair, they made this whole indoor seaside event for the journalists to walk around. There was sweets, there was burgers, there was anything you wanted, and it was all free as well. It was a I felt like Alice in Wonderland, Alan in Wonderland, we'll call it, and it was great fun having a wander around, seeing all the latest games that are going to be coming out ages in the future. And of course, this is where we saw some other footage that you can see there of WRC having a wander, Assassin's Creed, Tintin was on display in 3D. Lots and lots of games on display. Hopefully in 2012 I'm hoping to expand a lot more in the way of general gaming stuff. So there'll be the racing stuff, but there'll also be some general gaming as well. So the games that were on display there were these three ones in key: the Trackmania Canyons, the Driver San Francisco, and the WRC 2. Now Driver was the most popular title here by some margin. We didn't really understand the whole shift thing. It wasn't, we saw shifting in being used at the E3 video, but it didn't really seem to have any kind of use to it. It wasn't really until you got to multiplayer that the shift came into its own and was loads of fun, and an inspired design choice, I felt. They were trying something different. They had really cool modes in it. WRC was looking very early at the time, and we couldn't really comment on that. And of course, we had some content for Trackmania Canyons. We do hope to show more Trackmania in 2012. If you can play Trackmania, let me know, because I don't have the time at the moment. Need to find someone who's good at it. So then it was on to visiting the Driver developers, having a wander around the studio, looking at the investment that goes into making a game of this scale and how long it takes to make. Interviewing developers, looking at the multiplayer modes. A really cool visit, a really cool opportunity to meet the developers and talk about the multiplayer modes, and really open the game up to you guys for the first time. We'd known about the game for 2 years, but we knew about 1% of it. We just didn't know anything about what it was going to contain. Now, these videos really showcase some of those modes, and I let the gameplay do the talking. I didn't say anything, just watch this. It's loads of fun, it's crazy. you know, a lot better than anyone would have been expecting. And don't expect sim racing. That's not the idea of it. It's just about fun. I mean, a lot of people would liken the cop chase mode to the Matrix. Absolutely, that's the first thing that I thought. It feels like the Matrix. You can jump anywhere you want and try stopping the bad guys. Great fun. I really should play this more online. Perhaps a few more online races, and I can record them in the new year. I'm ever looking forward to streaming some of these events as well, but that's still a long way in the future for me at the moment. So lots of modes showcased, crazy action, meeting developers, finding out all about the game before this extensive interview with Martin Edmondson, a man who's been developing games for many years, since I was young. One of the developers that inspired me to get into video gaming, and that's why it was great for me to talk to him and delve deep into where he's come from, and his racing, you know, car pedigree passions from years ago as well. To think we've bumped into each other probably several times over the last sort of 15, 16, 17 years. It's crazy. Finally getting a chat to him about these things he probably doesn't talk about very often, and you know, getting the emulation sorted to show some of this stuff off to you guys was fantastic as well. So Martin Edmondson, great guy, great interview, and I hope very insightful for everyone as well. Before Gamescom kicked off, and we got our Gamescom coverage here as well, and this was again a great help for us getting this coverage. Silvio, top man. You know, showing more F1. It was a bit crazy. We showed the new India circuit, but it was great that we were able to get hold of this. Gave me something to talk about, including the craziest multiplayer mode you've ever seen. Even to this day, I get people messaging me saying, "Why are you filming off screen?" Well, it's a trade show. You can't record direct feed at trade shows. Admittedly, at the time, I was having terrible problems with direct feed anyway. So it's the first time we'd seen some of it in a much more finished state, and this was, you know, obviously all exclusive footage from the show. India circuit was great to see, and also at the show, of course, was Forza Motorsport again. Again, they didn't really reveal much on Forza 4, did they? I mean, right up until launch, all we'd seen was about 2 circuits. It does surprise me sometimes. They just show the same thing over and over again, and you think, well, the game must have been virtually complete at this point, so they could have shown some different circuits at the show, but instead they decided to show the same thing as E3. But we had the triple screen there, and a lot of time on it, so again, this is great footage of it. And we again appreciate the footage from Silvio and the Average Gamer for their support on this as well. Fantastic. Before I travelled to Monza and had an amazing tour at Monza, courtesy of Thrustmaster launching their F1 wheel, revealing it for the first time. You can see my view from the grandstand over the grid. I had a tour of the paddock. What a crazy view of a Formula 1 race at Monza, sitting in the Ferrari stand with Fernando Alonso taking the lead before the battle with the McLarens and Michael Schumacher. It's great. We had a big screen in front of us so we could see all the action all the way around the circuit. Something's very surreal about it when you see them on the screen and then driving by, and of course Vettel punching the air with his fist. A phenomenal experience for me as an F1 fan, and yeah, a life experience, something I'll never forget. This was the moment I stayed for, though. I wanted to see the crowd gathering. You know, the atmosphere at Monza when the crowd gather underneath the podium is immense. I will say it was too hot for me. I had terrible sunstroke at the time. I was not feeling the best, but I was past that. I was just enjoying the experience so much. Certainly one of the best days of my life, and as an F1 fan, I can safely say Monza is one of the best racetracks to visit. Before a photo of the 3 of us who remain there as well as Andreas from Inside Sim Racing, we had a great day. And of course, following that, it was the launch of F1 2011, and you can see here a few early hands on the game and giving you guys some extensive coverage. As ever, I do my best with very limited time. We often get the game, or I get the game a little bit later than a lot of the magazines and the other press. They often have the game two or 3 weeks before we manage to get hold of it. So I literally only had about 48 hours of driving while recording this, while editing it, putting it together, and it's quite a lot of work in short space of time. The thirst is insatiable from F1 fans for the new news, and they want to see you good at it straight away, and some of this was taking time to learn, but as ever, great fun learning. Then it was on to the unboxing of the Ferrari wheel. finally turned up. There it was. Lovely. What a great looking wheel it is as well. I've not managed to use it much this year. It's been pointed out recently. We will use it more in the new year. That's been more down to issues with my rig. How to set up the pedals for the T500 on my current rig. I've had some real issues with that. It's just not comfortable for long runs, and if it's a short run, fine, but if it's a long run, I did find it uncomfortable, and it does require a lot of setup tuning for the wheel as well. So I needed to find a balance. I didn't find that balance, and I think some of it is setup tuning the car as well as the wheel. You know, it's a balance. I found it quite a bit of understeer, but you can look at the detail on the wheel there. You know, of course the outer buttons work, the inner dials don't work, but it has a nice feel. It looks virtually identical to the real thing, apart from the digital display, and even Fernando Alonso appeared to be quite impressed with it, actually. So yeah, I mean, you just couldn't imagine something like this being commercially available 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You know, back then, you know, third-party peripherals meant they were, you know, crap, basically. You know, it's moved on so much now in those years, to a point now where we have, you know, pretty professional looking pieces of kit there, and amazing feedback on the T500 as well. Love the feedback. It's so smooth, it's so immediate, it's so strong. It's a great wheel, and for an F1 fan, this, if you can get it all set up right, it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, first thing I needed to do was an extended race, but there will be many more of these coming in 2012. Not only on F1 2011, but hopefully on future versions of F1 as well. So we await to see more on that, as well as the signing of the Concord agreement. And you know, it's a lot of fun to use, and we hope to test it on other games. We haven't managed to test it on Gran Turismo, but I'll say more about that later. We're not allowed to show Gran Turismo, but hopefully one day we will be able to, as I put the wheel through its paces on this race. And you can see a fair bit of understeer I was having to oversteer the wheel and stuff like that, so you will need to tune the wheel. Obviously get used to it and it becomes more immediate and stuff like that. And of course then I tested the wheel on different games as well. I did have footage of Gran Turismo testing it. Of course it handles perfectly on Gran Turismo because the T500 does, but it was just good to test it out on some of the others. Supercar Challenge didn't work, you can see in the bottom corner there. Oh well. It doesn't support it. It's more down to the software developers than anything. So that was the T500, that was the F1 launch, loads of activity there, and the next thing was going to be the new rival wheel, or say rival wheel, the wheel for Forza Motorsport 4, the Fanatec CSR wheel. So I received my wheel and then proceeded on making an unboxing for you guys. Let's check that out. Hello viewers, well this is a table, and earlier this week we saw this footage here from Inside Sim Racing, and the guys there showing off all the bits for the new Fanatec CSR wheel. I suppose if there was an appropriate quote to go with this, it would be, "Wouldn't you love to get your hands around those?" Well, I certainly would, and now here we go, I can. So that's the new CSR wheel, lovely jubbly. Now I don't do many of these sort of unpackaging videos because, well, I'm generally too excited and just open them very quickly. But there's something special about this, isn't there? There's something special about opening a product like this and, you know, seeing what's inside, you know, having a good old fondle and wrapping your hands around them. So here we are then. This is the new wheel. Let's open this up, have a look inside. This is the moment, it's like Christmas Day, you know, you open it, you rip the presents off and you're like, yeah! Get inside, and then you've got it all nicely packed in here as well. Quick guide and stuff, normal Fanatec sort of stuff that you get there. It's going to be complicated, it's bound, you're bound to find problems if you're trying to connect to your PC the first time, because you're a noob when it comes to this stuff. Very helpful though, some of the information they provide, and it all works perfectly. So let's get in here. Lovely, lovely, nice packaging. There it is. There it is. Unleash the beast that is the CSR wheel. Let's pull this out. Nice. Get that down there. Put these out of the way. And that's the new wheel. Bad boy. Look at that. Now, doesn't feel too heavy. It's a similar sort of chassis design, if you like, to the 911 wheel. So similar sort of size to it. Let's open our little bag now. Get stuck in. We don't have any scissors because we're not that prepared. Guys never are, let's face it. We don't look at instructions either, because we don't need to, because we're gamers. We know this stuff. And here we are then, so it's my first fondle of this new wheel. There it is, looking fab. Okay, so first things first then, let's compare a bit of size, shall we? We've got the Porsche 911 wheel here as a comparison. Let's grab this one for you guys. It's a bit dusty, but we don't mind. There it is. There's the Porsche 911 as a comparison of size. So it's not necessarily a small wheel, because this Porsche one's pretty big, you know. But let's have a feel of this. Get stuck in as I hit my head on the light. Yes, I'm a giant. So nice. Have a feel of it. I think the first thing you notice here is this kind of material that's here as well. It's very nice. I like this sort of thumb grip area. Got that nice sort of racy feel to it. A lot of people have discussed this sort of glossy top and whether they like it or not. I don't mind it at the moment. I think it's quite nice. Feels good. I think when you're turning the wheel, if you're feeding the wheel at least. Xbox button there at the back. Nice feel to the D-pad there. So, a lot of movement in the paddle shifters, but that's cool. So far then, feels nice, feels nice. I'd like to see the old digital display working. Let's hope that's all working as well with Forza. I have no doubt they'll get that sorted and set up. So there you go, viewers, a nice little close up there. Look at the wheel as you've never seen it before. Lovely. There we are, look at that. Lovely. We've even got this little red bit there, isn't it? The go faster air vents on the back. Just needs a stripe down there. That would have been perfect. So that's nice. Look at the side here. Have a good fondle. Do you know? I keep thinking I'm going to get fingerprints on it already. That's the thing, isn't it? You want to keep it nice and clean, like your first car. Unless your first car was a bit rubbish, in which case you won't be too bothered. So that's the new wheel there, ladies and gents, and that comes here with a whole bunch of wires and bits and bobs, which we'll get to very soon. So new wheel, looking fab. Come back to that in just a moment. And then we've got this. Let's take a look. Boom, look at that for a big box. Lovely. Right, a good wheel. It's like a competition, isn't it? A good wheel requires. Let's take a look then. See the rest of the message. Feel that caption, you know, to your heart's content there. Oh, feels nice. They tricked me there, didn't they? A good wheel feels nice. Now I thought that was going to be a good wheel requires a good set of pedals. In my kind of movie voice there. That was a movie trailer, man. A bit more gravelly, wouldn't it? A good wheel. So let's get in here. I'll open this bad boy up. This is a big old box, isn't it? So these are the new pedals. Let's get into this. Here we are then. CSR Elite pedals. Nice design there. There we go. Goodness, you know, these pedals and wheels certainly do take up a lot of space in my tiny little room. I'll be sleeping on steering wheels very soon. And a drilling template. I have to say these drilling templates are the most helpful thing in the world. Always use them. Whack them on there, get your drilling done. Horrible amount of noise drilling through metal makes, but the end result is it's all tied down nicely and sounds fabulous. Plays fabulous, should I say. So details in there, wires, bits and bobs. Here we are then. Let's get in here. Oh, it's Christmas Day. Some people are going to be really happy. Going to be getting this. Some of you will be lucky enough to get it when the game comes out, no doubt. I'm lucky enough to test Forza 4 out on this new set of pedals. So let's move this box out the way. Goodness. Now, there we go then. How about that? Eh? How about that? Alright then, I'll open up this bad boy. Okay, nice. Nice. Now, to me, Obviously, you know, you might be interested in size of pedals and blah blah and all that kind of stuff. For me, it's just a case of the pressure on the pedals, really. Nicely spaced out. You know, I probably have a bit more tightening on the old acceleration there. I tend to like a bit more sort of stiffness in it and progression. And you've got all your sort of rumble features and everything else on the back there, which I'll be going through and testing out in the coming days to make sure it works well. But overall, very nice looking set of pedals, and we will be doing lots and lots of laps on those and the wheel. Now let's cut now while I get through this mountain of boxes to take a little look at the gear stick as well. And here are the little gear sticks, and they come all nicely packaged in their little boxes, and the little rod there which you can have either side. Lovely jubbly. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a, well, I know my seat isn't great for gear sticks at the moment. I will have to get a new one. Always tends to move about. If there's one problem with some of the play seats, is the old gear stick tends to wobble about a bit on the side. So here we are then. Let's get the balls out. Oh, there we go. Let's have a little look at that. Christmas Day, isn't it? You just want to rip into it as quick as possible. Yeah! There we go then, look at that. Doo-doo. Do-do-do-do-do. Nice. Now, first thing I notice about it is that's a good solid gear stick there. It feels solid, feels nice, metal. Okay, you need it tied down really to fully appreciate it, but that's nice. There's a sequential one here as well. Let's have a look at that. Lovely. Sequential. Here it is. Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Sequential gear shifter as well. Did you like the music there as well? Just thought I'd add a bit of atmosphere to the revealing. Nice. There's a click to it. Nice click to it there. I would say though that sometimes it'd be nice if you could just turn the click off sometimes, just so it was something you felt rather than heard sometimes. Because when you're racing and you're, it was just nice to have a little bit of silence there. But at the same time, nice solid build quality, nice feel to it and stuff like that. So there we have it, viewers. There we have the new CSR wheel, Fanatic CSR wheel there with the new pedals and stuff like that. And I'll be testing these out and doing loads and loads of laps on the new Forza Motorsport 4 and testing out other games on it as well. So it's something we're going to be doing lots on in the coming days. Feels nice, looks solid. Certainly not a cheap piece of kit, but at the end of the day, it's all about how does it feel when you're doing sort of racing, long runs, different cars, everything else, and that's something that I'm going to be giving you my feedback on in the coming days, and giving you lots and lots of examples of it in action as well. So that was the CSR unboxing, something I never got the chance to show at the time. It didn't work out with timing and stuff like that, and of course that's not my review of the wheel, that was just an unboxing. The review of the wheel has actually never taken place, and it's something that I hope to pick up on with a whole bunch of wheels in the new year. I've got a lot of catching up to do on that, but that's fine, it will give you guys a roundup. A lot of people ask me for different feedback on wheels, and it really is down to the peripheral manufacturers to send me the wheels to test, or give me an opportunity to pop in and test them out, and then I can give you guys feedback. But using the CSR and Forza Motorsport 4 was fantastic. It felt very intuitive to me, worked very well. Using the CSR on Formula 1 didn't work too well on the Xbox for me. It worked better on the PS3, but there's very different handling between F1 2011 on all three versions. So the Forza balance was great. You can see I got a good feel for it straight away. Really nice, you know, the pedals, everything else. It gave me that nice degree of control over the car. And again, changing wheels and pedals on a rig can sometimes be a bit of a pain, but luckily I've already drilled a couple of holes for the 911 wheel, and it fits on that perfectly because it uses a similar sort of base. So Forza Motorsport 4 then, a lot of fun. It did everything it was supposed to do, really. I think it was everything that we wanted in Forza Motorsport 3 and more. That's not to say there aren't still issues. The team mode online has an issue in which you don't need a team. You just need one fast player on your team, and that's it. It doesn't matter if you have 100 members or 5. If you've got one fast player, then you can win the world. So it's just about a singles thing rather than the team. And it was a shame that despite all the passion looking forward to that, we realised that was the case and decided not really to bother with it, which was a bit of a shame. Of course, Forza Stats is different, that we have on the old VVV site, and we'll be launching a new VVV site in the new year, but I'll announce that nearer the time when it's all ready to launch and get some of you guys on there, and I'll be doing some live streaming to talk about that, get some more players involved, as well as the team system that still exists at forzastats.com. So loads of different racing, different cars, giving you guys different feedback, stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time playing Forza 4. I've not played it since that video back then. I've not had the time, but it's something I will be revisiting in the new year, and we're going to have a few guest presenters as well from Team VV who will be racing around and showing you guys how to tune cars. These videos we were hoping to have in November will now be early in the new year, and that will kick off with the first look at the new IGN car pack, which was recently released. So loads of fun on Forza Motorsport. After that though, it was a trip to Wales. There we go, Wales. Nice mountains and sheep. Lots of sheep in Wales for a little tour, seeing WRC, seeing the rally, meeting the video game developers again and everybody else. It was an interesting trip in the middle of nowhere. We got abandoned on a hill at one point, had to walk a couple of miles to safety to find random locals to drive us to a nearby village. Felt something out of very much similar to American Werewolf in London, actually, where we were. It was literally the middle of nowhere, and we were on our own when all these people had gone home at night, and luckily found some civilization. At night there is no life here for miles. You can drive for miles, there's no life. It's pitch black, so luckily we weren't totally stranded, but it was great fun seeing all the cars racing around. WRC was better than WRC1, but it still at the moment still needs a lot of work to take it to a level where, you know, we would like it to be. Wonderful views here, look at that, you see the road in the distance. I really enjoyed the different vantage points. If there's one thing about rallying though, you do need to move from different vantage points to see the rally cars going by, and you know, you can get a real feel for the atmosphere. The atmosphere was really good actually. I really enjoyed my time there. The weather was, as you can see, fantastic. You know, wow, I was very lucky. I think if it was raining and muddy everywhere, it would have been a different kettle of fish. I didn't have my wellies on. I wouldn't have been prepared for terrible weather. You can see the view miles away in the distance, looking at everything. Great, hearing the cars. You can see about 3 different rally cars racing around all at the same time from this vantage point. Of course, my camera has a rubbish zoom to it, my old camera, so we weren't really able to zoom in on those distant shots. There's actually another mountain further away, but great shots for you guys. If you've never been rallying before, it's definitely worth investigating at some point, checking it out. It doesn't have to be WRC, it could be a more local rally, a national rally, something like that, and we showed some of these cars in this video. We were hoping for an interview with a rally driver, which was the reason for attending, but unfortunately being stranded in the mountain meant that didn't happen, which was a bit of a bummer for us. But at the same time, we were able to show this footage to you guys, and they were happy for us to show this, so that's fair enough. And hopefully something again we'll look at in the future and see how the WRC brand develops with Blackbean. But clearly at the moment the game needs, you know, more development, and let's just hope that it does develop, because rallying's a huge thing, you know, and it deserves a bit more, I think, a bit more respect as a game. You know, I used to love the old Colin McRae games as well. I mean, as well as, of course, Richard Burns that everybody knows and loves today. So on to cars was the next one. Racing with the Formula B here. You know what, loads of fun, really love it. Visited Slightly Mad Studios for a go on their simulator as well, test out the Formula B, test out the touring cars, and it's really shaping up nicely. Racing around here, a lot of focus required. You've really got to concentrate, progressive with the power. But let's just take a look at the D-Box in action now at Slightly Mad Studios. great experience there, and in the touring car as well. I could have sat in that chair and raced these cars all day. It was so much fun. I just love the feedback from it all, and once you get used to it, it really does feel like a much more visceral experience. And who knows, we might be doing some more deep box driving for you guys in the future. I certainly look forward to it. We didn't get invited, unfortunately, in December, which meant there was no December roundup, and I can't currently use the current build on my PC, which is a real shame because I would like to cover more cars for you guys. But in the meantime, there are lots of videos on the internet, and you can expect some more thorough coverage on that later in the year. Now, the next video up was Daytona USA, another re-release from Sega, back to old arcade gaming for me. And I love Daytona US Arcade. It was one of the greatest driving games ever made. It inspired many of the racing developers you see today. Yeah, sure, it looks basic and everything else, but at the time this was state of the art, and it blew your mind. And it was loads of fun, 8-player link up in the arcade. Probably the most successful arcade game of all time by some margin. And I thought what I would do is to show you guys some different techniques and tips how to play it if you were new to it. Had a lot of fun on this so far. It's something I'll come back to time and time again. I'll be playing this when I'm an old man and reminiscing over the good old days of arcade. This is actually a little bit better than the arcade machine. They've improved the graphics a little bit with pop-up and stuff like that. It scenery used to pop up constantly in front of you, but at the time, you know, texture mapping, wow, I mean, this was just crazy real life. After that though, it moves on to essentially to what would be considered an arcade game of today, Need for Speed The Run. EA didn't want us to show this to you. They don't support us at all year, which is a real shame of EA, because since the Shift 2 stuff, whatever, perhaps they weren't happy with my feedback, I don't know, but they didn't want us showing any Need for Speed The Run at all, which was really a shame that they were so unsupportive with it. But I quite enjoyed it for what it was worth. Lots of people slating it because they feel they have to slate it. You know, yeah, it was always going to be a 6 out of 10 game. As soon as I saw QTE, I thought it looks rubbish. I'm not too bothered about it. But when I played it, I did find it a lot of fun. I think at a budget price, yeah, it's a good fun game. It's a good fun outrun style game. You know, it's not much more to it than that. But with a wheel, I had it was good. But unfortunately, my disc had a failure. It died, and we weren't able to show you the entire run. Otherwise, I'd probably have done one extended video and put it all together for you guys. But alas, that didn't happen. Good fun though, and we'll have to see where the Need for Speed franchise is going in the future. I don't think EA know themselves at the moment, so we'll wait and see. They're broken between Shift, what's going to happen with the future of that. But it was back to F1 for me after that. So I've done everything else, back to F1. F1 fans were saying, you're not doing F1. I thought, no, I love F1. I'm going to do some more F1. Why not do an extended race? And you can see Abu Dhabi here, an extended race of Abu Dhabi. Let's take a look at the Badger Bash. That was a Badger Bash, a lot of fun, really enjoyed that, watching the final race of the season. And then it was on to the DS version of F1 2011 and some early hands on this as well. Again, people were criticising my driving. I wasn't really making these videos to display great driving, but having said that, I did find the control to be quite sensitive. I'd like to see someone actually doing some smooth laps at some time and seeing how they get on. A lot of fun. The menus are all nicely laid out. It's all very much like the console versions. Handling is okay. I mean, I would say the only, if I had an issue with it, was with the AI. The AI is like bumper cars rather than anything else. It's not really F1 like in that way. But saying that, I didn't try it on the hardest settings. I'd like to try the harder settings and see how it works out. But it is quite a bumpy ride overall. If you're an F1 fan and you're on the go, certainly it's better than I was ever expecting, and I look forward to a hands-on the Vita version in the new year. So that went through all of the main options in the game, testing everything out. I did have requests for more videos on this version, but unfortunately I don't own a 3DS at the moment. This was just borrowed just for this one video, so I wasn't able to show you guys any more of it. Hopefully in the future I can, but we'll wait and see on that one. So main track of course was Brazil. That was one I was learning at the time. It was one that's, oh, of course, here we have a bit of Monza. Still remembering my Monza passion from earlier in the year. That's where I was sitting, just up there. Lovely. And going through the 3D and the different views. Of course you can't see the 3D on camera, but I thought I'd show it to you guys anyway. The 3D actually on this game is extraordinarily impressive. It's the best 3D I think I've seen on the 3DS. The car, once you've been looking at it for a while, literally separates itself from the background. It's a really nice effect, and I wouldn't say whether it helped me or hindered me as far as gameplay was concerned, but certainly the effect was very impressive and very immersive. I look forward to trying something like that on a proper 3D TV. Again, that's something on the to-do list one day. But racing around then, this was with assists off at the time. I tried it with assists on. You can see the back end coming out there, getting progressive on the power. It's hard to be progressive back with the buttons again, getting used to a controller. Yeah, I wasn't quite able to find the angle and steering, so instead I was like popping it into the corners a little bit. So that was F1 2011 on 3DS, and the final big game of the year really was Ridge Racer Unbounded. We had an interview with the producer of Ridge Racer Unbounded, as well as lots more exclusive footage for you guys, and exclusive track design as well, which was fantastic. And you know, it looks like a lot of fun. You know, it's a throwaway fun game. A lot of people have issues about it being called Ridge Racer. I do as well. I wish I hadn't called it Ridge Racer personally. I wish I called it something else and just kept Ridge Racer for Ridge Racer games, rather than, you know, taking a game like this that's nothing to do with the Ridge Racer universe and putting it into Ridge Racer. Having said that though, developers are working hard to make it good fun, and you know, we'll just have to wait and see when the final game is released in March. There's still a lot of polish and development to go into it. I did see a more complete version which looked a lot better, and there's a lot more different circuits and cars and everything else. So this is still a very early build at the moment. And finally, to finish the year, well, what better than another couple of F1 extended runs. We had an extended run of the Brazil with a second patch. A lot of you have enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll have more extended runs on F1 in the new year as well. So I love doing these runs for you guys and everything else. But I hope you've enjoyed this year of VVV. I'll do a little roundup speech after this, but certainly it's been a busy year, and this represents just a fraction, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I look forward to doing more of this in 2012. So viewers, that's the end of my 2011 review. As I say, it's quite an epic video. There were clips there that we didn't have time to include during the year for whatever reason. There's also other stuff as well. MotoGP, which wasn't in there. There was a Forza event, wasn't in there. There was the Senna review that was carefully put together, which was a real shame. That was quite an in-depth review, and I went through my own passion over Formula One over the years. Maybe I'll do something a bit more on Formula One like that in the future as well. So there was loads and loads of videos throughout the year, and it's been a great passion of mine, motor racing and racing games and video games for a long time. And it's nice to be able to share those passions with you guys, and you know, being able to get hold of the games early and show you guys just an alternative opinion, an alternative journalism opinion on all of these types of products that are available that are coming out as well. And I think 2011, I don't think it, you know, I could have predicted it was going to be such a busy year or so big for us as well. I mean, 6 million views this year. You know, it's been really nice to get the feedback from you all and know that you're all enjoying the videos, and hopefully that will help me in 2012 and beyond. 2012, looking forward now, looks to be a great year. You know, we've got Dirt Showdown, you know, where's F1 2012 going, what's happening with that? We've got the new rules and regulations still to come in, plus other racing games as well. You know, we've got Ridge Racer, we've got Project Cars, hopefully some iRacing, which I still intend to do this year. We've got Auto Club Revolution and lots of other stuff as well. It's going to be another busy year for racing fans, and it's only going to get better and better as the new consoles are eventually announced and new technology comes in the coming years. And hopefully as well for myself, maybe a bit of help, a few new faces, and peripheral reviews as well. So it's been pretty busy through 2011, I think, growing. But you know, again, I just want to thank everybody for all their support of the channel, and you know, taking the videos and putting them on your Facebooks and following me on Twitter and putting the videos on your forums. You know, it gets me out there, and that helps me when it comes to getting this information, when it comes to getting the interviews, because at the end of the day, you know, everybody needs viewers, and they need viewers that are going to enjoy the content, and I'm glad a lot of you have written to me and said you have. So that's it for 2011 then. It's been a great year. I look forward to 2012. There's some really exciting stuff. I've been working really hard behind the scenes to try and make sure that 2012 is even better than 2011, so there's loads to look forward to. So the last thing for me to say is to wish you all a very happy new year, and I'll see you all again very soon.